Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Bitter Rivals podcast. This is episode 112, powered by 91N. I am your host, Avery Roush, along with co-host Gitano Gallo. As always, for 112 episodes now, we have never had a guest host, or never had somebody replacing us. We've had guest hosts, but we've never had anybody replace. It's been me and him for 112 episodes, so I'm sure you're sick of us by now. Only a couple Leafs games to talk about this week. As always, we'll get started with the Toronto Maple Leafs. A couple of regulation wins, which is kind of what we were lacking prior to that. We only had 5, which was tied for last in the National Hockey League prior to this week. We got 2, 1 in Ottawa, and then 1 at home against the Nashville Predators. Unfortunately, I did not get the chance to watch either game very closely. I know I am failing at my job, which is doing this podcast. Those were due to Christmas parties that I had to attend. So, unfortunately, I did not have an opportunity. I did watch the third period on a very grainy screen on my phone last night. So I did see that. It did, from what I saw last night, look like a very dominant win, and obviously the score tells you that. 4-0. Couple Austin Matthews goals, empty netter from Gregor, and a goal from David Kampf, which is nice to see. Shots, I believe, ended up being somewhere in the high 30s for the Leafs, maybe 36, 37, and 18 for the Nashville Predators. So it was a strong defensive game from a defensive core that isn't very well put together right now, is missing a lot of pieces. So that's nice to see. Samsonov needed that shutout more than I could think anybody else in the league, because he hadn't played a home game. I don't know when he last played, but he hadn't played a home game. Which is where he was very successful last year, actually. He was way more successful at home than he was on the road. But he hadn't played since November 11th in the Scotiabank Arena. So for him to go in, get a shutout after Joseph Woll injured himself, that was huge for Ilya Samsonov. And as Sheldon Keefe said, it's an opportunity for him to really establish himself back into this team's rotation, even when Joseph Woll comes back. Because I think we can agree that Joseph Woll, when he comes back, he will be given an opportunity to get that starting job back, just because of how good he was before he suffered that high ankle sprain there. So
yeah, it's definitely Woll's net to lose for sure.
Yeah, it's that was tough, man. That was tough, and I know that you guys have had to deal with injuries for years now, but we finally had a goaltender, drafted and developed starting goaltender. He was really starting to come into his own and turn himself into that guy that we could rely on a night-to-night basis. Not a 1A, 1B, a 1, right? And that was very swiftly taken away from us. And during probably the best game that he's ever played, like he was stellar.
He was on one.
He was stellar in that game. And then, unfortunately, it all came to an abrupt end, and Martin Jones had to come in relief because Ilya Samsonov was suffering from an illness. That's why he was not on the bench, if you were wondering. Yeah, that sucks. Like, there's no other way to say that. He was so good. And as somebody who owns him in fantasy too, like, that hurt my soul, because he was running away with the starting job. Like, there's no other way to say it. He was just playing so well. He was getting better every game and starting every game. Right? Like, I don't know what more you can ask for from a rookie goaltender.
I mean, like, honestly, like, not a lot else. It is weird calling him a rookie, though, but, like, yeah.
He's a rookie. That's,
yeah,
by definition, he is the Panarin, right? Like,
exactly.
We should have thought this through when we were doing our awards before the season, because I think we couldn't think. I don't believe we could think of anybody for the Panarin.
No, we couldn't, but yeah, I guess he does qualify.
This is the Panarin. Like, this is exactly what this is. But yeah, it was, other than losing Woll, it was a good week. 2 regulation wins, one against a divisional and provincial rival in the Ottawa Senators, and then showing Ryan O'Reilly that his team sucks was also very, very cool. I enjoyed that. That's nice. I love to see that.
Did he not drop a hat trick on you guys last time you played?
Maybe. I don't know.
Oh, no. It wasn't you guys. It was
He did drop a hat trick, but I don't think it was against us.
No, it was against the Oilers. I remember we were watching it at your place, and we don't typically watch other games at your place, but it was the Oilers because he embarrassed Darnell Nurse.
Yes, I remember.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely, that did happen. But yeah, no, it's good. And now moving forward, it's nice to be kind of back on our regular scheduled programming. We got a game tomorrow. Then we play the next night back to back against the that's Islanders and then Rangers, and then we play 2 more games. So it's a 4-game week for us, which we haven't had, it feels like, yet this year. So we probably did like first couple weeks of the season, and it just feels like a fever dream at this point. But it's really nice to have regular Leafs hockey to watch this week. I'm very much looking forward to it.
No, I love that for you guys. The Habs, after our schedule is changing up this week now, it's been pretty consistent. The like the Monday, Tuesday, and then like a Friday, Saturday, or Saturday, Sunday. But we can get into the future a little later. We'll talk about. Oh wait, are you done with the Leafs?
Yeah, for the most part. If anything, I just want to give a quick shout out to Morgan Rielly, who has yet to take a penalty at 5-on-5, playing against the best players in the league every single night and the most minutes on the team for defensemen every single night. So shout out to Morgan Rielly.
That's super. That's like fucking, who was it? Jacob Slavin a couple years ago had like 4 penalty minutes all year. Like what?
How? Like when you're a top pairing defenseman, that's nearly impossible to do. Let's be real here.
It's not near, like it is impossible. Like that's
Yeah, and not only that, but he's really stepped up. Like he's playing the best defensively this year that he's played in his entire career. Like, and it's not really that close. Not only that, he's still putting up the points. He's manning that top power play because Klingberg isn't. We know Klingberg isn't. Oh, that's the other news. I don't think we talked about that last week. Klingberg done for the year, $4.5 million in cap space. That honestly is all that needs to be said. There is nothing more that needs to be said about John Klingberg. The experiment was a complete and utter failure, and we should never try something like that again. End of story.
That's a nice happy ending for you guys.
Oh, it could not have ended any better. And I hope that, like, for the man, John Klingberg, I hope that he gets this surgery and he's good moving forward as a man. But please never put on the blue and white again, for fuck's sakes. Like, honestly, that's what I have to say about that.
It's like, and it's not even like Robida Island. It's like an actual legitimate, like.
He's getting fucking hip surgery, dude.
Yeah, he's fucked.
You can't walk, let alone play hockey in the NHL. Like, that's what I mean. It's a tough injury. Like, I hope for him and his family and all of those things. And if some team wants to sign him next year, for them too. I really do hope that he is able to get better, but never in the blue and white again.
Never,
Ever. I never want to see that. I wanted to, dude, I remember, like, when he was in his prime, like, we're talking 17, 18, I think, is probably what I'm thinking here. I remember him always being on the trade block and always thinking, oh my God, that is a piece that the Leafs could use. Like, that is a stellar piece of defenseman right there. You know what I mean? Like, I want it. And then we got it, like we always do. Like, even back in the day when we got Lindros and, like, McGillney, it was after their prime. That's the same thing that happened with John Klingberg here. It's terrible. It's brutal. It sucks. But it is what it is, and never again. So that's how I feel about that.
Love that.
And shout out to Morgan Rielly for stepping up and doing his job, plus your job, plus, like, TJ Brody's job. Like, just doing everybody's job. So shout out to you.
All right. So the Habs actually had, like, a decent week. Beat the Kraken actually, like, pretty comfortably 4-2 on Monday. Got absolutely slapped by the LA Kings on Thursday 4-0. I didn't realize that they are 11-0-1 on the road this year. They are disgusting.
They're a very good hockey. Can you imagine having them in the playoffs? Like, that's not a fun matchup for anybody.
No, that, like, and they've pushed the Oilers to the limits, like, the last couple times in the playoffs, and the Oilers have squeaked through. But, like, I think this team might be legit.
They are.
Like, they are scary good. Yeah,
man. Yeah, and we don't get to see them that much where we play. We just kind of see highlights and stats, and those highlights and stats, man, are really starting to jump off the page, aren't they?
Oh, man. Like, even just, like, watching that game, it felt like the Habs were just never in it. Like, the Kings were just like, nah, we're going to play our game, like, get fucked. and the
Yeah.
Habs generated nothing. And like, and not even that the Kings like dominated the game, but they just like quietly put up 45 shots. Like it didn't feel like it. Like watching the game, it was just like, all right, But yeah, like just incredible to
Sustained
watch.
pressure, man. Sustained pressure. That's what it is with that team. And they have to play like that because they don't have a McDavid or a Matthews or
No,
even like, you know what I mean? Even a Caulfield. Like they don't have that really like star kind of guy down there.
no, they just have like a bunch of like phenomenal like support cast.
Yeah.
Like there's no
Yeah. You think
superstar. It's
of
just all support.
Anze Kopitar, you think of Adrian Kempe, Quentin Byfield is down there.
Phil Deneau, fucking, he's chipping in offensively. Like they're all like they've
Drew
PLD, man.
Doughty's
Like
having a resurgence this year.
he is, yeah. Like just scary good, scary
Yeah.
good. So not like you can't be upset losing to one of the best teams in the league when they are playing at that level. Like it just is what it is.
Yeah.
And then last night, the Habs beat the Sabres in a shootout with Juraj Slafkovsky scoring the shootout winner, which should do wonders for him and his confidence.
Yeah, well, he needs it. We know that because he stinks. But anyway, I do have to give props where props are due, and I kind of was very surprised to see that the Habs are a 500 hockey team right now.
Yeah, like we're kind of crawling along. We're doing all right. We are like 4 points back of Tampa right now.
That's kind of what I'm saying here. Like I saw a pretty funny meme of like just in reference to you guys kind of like the look you're giving each other on your way past each other in the standings, Tampa and Montreal. And it's kind of crazy to watch from an outsider's perspective. Is Tampa have a fall off? And the crazy part about it is it's Vasilevsky's back now. Like
yeah, like I mean,
big guy's back.
We talked about it the first week came back. Like, yeah, he's gonna be a little rusty because he's been off for so long with that back surgery. But like, he's put up I think one shutout since he's been back. But other than that, he's looked very average, which is not a great sign if you're the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's kind of wild here. Yeah, you guys are, and you have 2 games at hand on Tampa Bay as well. Wow.
So realistically, if the Habs win those 2 games at hand, which we might not, like we would be like even Stevens with the fucking Detroit or the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yeah. Look at those
30 games.
Look at those Detroit Red Wings, dude.
I don't want to call them nasty yet, but they have potential to be nasty.
Dude, they look very, very good. They're at a .615 points percentage. They're tied with the Leafs for 3rd in the division with 32 points. The Leafs do have 2 games at hand on them. Both teams sit at 14 wins, though, with 4 overtime losses to make up those points. Man, Detroit's scary. Detroit's scary because they're so young and they have those veteran pieces around them. Like now they just started. We obviously need to talk about Showtime in Detroit. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
They just picked up a piece that really could change the makeup of that team if he comes back and he is able to be the Patrick Kane of old. We know that he's been injured for
he doesn't even have to be. He doesn't even have to be the Patrick Kane of old. He has to be not the Patrick Kane we saw last year.
Well, a couple years he's been, and he's admitted he feels way better now than he has for a few years now, right?
Good.
And the thing that this is what we're talking about. We're talking about a guy who was in MVP conversations like 4 years ago, right? Like he had that Chicago team on his back for their last little bit of relevancy before the tank for Bedard, like on his back. It's man. It's interesting to see what I'm looking forward to seeing what he's going to bring to that Detroit Red Wings team, especially in terms of veteran presence, Stanley Cup experience. Like, there's nothing else you can say. Showtime is in Detroit, man. That's huge.
And especially when you look at their kind of cost throwing him in, which is nothing but his salary. Like,
yeah,
for like you gave up nothing but salary space for that, which is just you're not going to find many better deals in the league, I don't think.
No, and they're a team to watch. This division is just an absolute bloodbath. And
Yep.
it's been like that for a few years now, and it is again, man. You got like some really, really. We haven't even talked about the Boston Bruins or the Florida Panthers, who are the 1-2 in this division.
Yeah.
This is a deadly, deadly division, and it's going to stay that way for a while because unless Boston falls off, like Florida's not falling off. The Leafs don't seem to be showing any signs of falling off. Detroit's only going to get better. Tampa might fall off. That's somebody I could see falling off. Montreal's only going to get better. Buffalo's only going to get better. And Ottawa's only going to get better.
Ottawa's still kind of pretty shit. I wouldn't.
Ottawa stinks right now.
Yeah, like they're pretty bad. Like they're pretty really bad.
Well, it's kind of hard for you to say that though, dude. They've only played 22 games. That's why they sit at their 22 points. And they're 500, just like the Habs. They're 11-11-0. Right?
Well, really, they haven't even. That's all right. That's like they're like legit straight up 500. That's wild.
Yes. So, I don't know. In terms of points percentage, the Leafs are actually in second place as well because we have 2 games at hand on both the Panthers and the Bruins, but importantly in that statement is the Panthers.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and then the Metro. Let's take a look at the Metro here. The New York Rangers, man. What the hell is in the water?
Fucking flying.
They are flying.
Like they are looking nasty, just like top to bottom. Like I don't want to call them contenders, like cup contenders quite yet, because I think the Atlantic is just like so far clear. But like they look pretty fucking nasty.
Well, something that I think deserves to be talked about in this division when I'm looking at it here is the Carolina Panthers.
Flyers in second.
Well, the Philadelphia Flyers in second, but more to me the bigger surprise, and I'm not saying that I thought Philly was a juggernaut this year. I thought Carolina was going to be way better than they are, man.
Oh yeah.
How are they sitting after 27 games at 29 points in 6th in their division?
I mean, like I'm looking at their fucking home record is great, 8-2-1, but you just can't get it done on the road. Fucking 6-10, and like we talk about the LA Kings being like a dominant road team, 11-0-1. Like it's great to be able to win in your barn, but like if you want to be truly elite in this league, you have to be able to win on the road. And it looks like the Hurricanes just can't fucking do it right now.
Yeah, no, they're abysmal, and they even sit like you can't even say points percentage because they sit in 6th at point percentage as well.
Yeah,
they're just not as good as anybody expected them to be. I don't think anybody could have expected that. They're on a West Coast swing right now, Gitano. They were 6-6-0 on the road before this West Coast swing. 0-4. They just won. Like that's unacceptable. Like that for a team like the Carolina Hurricanes who had expectations of playoffs, not only playoffs but Stanley Cup hopes this year, that's unacceptable. That can't happen.
The other thing is like even if you go west, like get some pity points. Losing overtimes and shootouts. Like you got to get something out of those West Coast trips. You cannot go there and go 0-4.
Yeah.
You can go 0-4, that's fine. But you can't go like you straight up 0-4.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. Moving on to the Western Conference. Or did you want to add a little bit more about Philly? Did you want to talk Philly?
No, I mean, like, I'm waiting for the bubble to burst with Philly because I don't think they
got
can
to at some point. But dude, we're past the quarter mark of the season. Quarter.
Yeah, I there's still like 60 odd games, 50, 60 odd games left. Like, I can't see them sustaining it. It just something is bound to go wrong.
It wouldn't make sense. It wouldn't make any sense.
And like whether it's on the ice or whether it's torts like blowing up, like something is gonna go wrong and they will find themselves back in the basement.
Yeah, no, you have to expect it coming at some point. So yeah, let's talk about the West. This Central's kind of not great. Like outside of the Colorado Avalanche and the Dallas Stars, this is a mid division. Actually, Winnipeg looks good. Look at that Winnipeg record.
I like their record. I just think they're soft and they are dog shit in the playoffs, and they have been for the last couple of years. So even if they make it, I don't expect much from them. I'm more shocked with the Coyotes sitting in 4th right now.
At 4,
to be honest,
that's wild. They're over 500 hockey, the Arizona Coyotes, and you know what? They have pieces. They've been drafting for like very high for like 10 years, man. Like it feels like that. I know it hasn't been 10 years. I believe they had a playoff run in the early 2010s, but dude, like they might be for real. I don't know. They have a goalie. They have a goalie. They've picked up a couple of pieces. They announced a new arena plan.
I don't know. No, like there's just no chance the Arizona Coyotes are for real. And like, look, if in fucking like when's the season end? Like July?
No,
and like if
April.
You know what I mean? When it gets like next summer, if they are fucking Stanley Cup champions, I will sit here and eat my words, but they are not for real.
Well, they're not going to win the Stanley Cup, dude, but I think this is great for them. Like as much as we think they should be relocated, as much as we probably like we agree on that, right?
They should be.
Okay. Well, they're not going to be. Gary Bettman's made that very clear. They're not going to be relocated. They won't. He's not going to do it. So, it's good for the team that they are building at least a little bit of momentum right now in terms of actual on-ice product, in terms of securing an arena that isn't a college barn. Like, that's good for the league overall. Let's be honest. Like, as much as we hate the entire project down in the desert there, that's good for.
I don't hate the project. I just think the project has been an utter failure, and at some point you have to. The league has to recognize that. I know they won't, but they should. Yeah, I have no hatred for the project. Like, growing the game is great. It's awesome. This didn't work.
Yeah, but what if it's working now?
That's
all we can hope for, because we've talked about the fact that the league isn't going to let them leave. So this is the only positive outcome, and I'm happy that it seems to be at least kind of maybe happening. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, no, I get it.
It's good to see. And then you go out to the Pacific, and you want to talk about top heavy.
I mean, I am really excited to see the race for the 4th spot, potentially. See if like who's going to get that spot.
Well, that's not even a guaranteed playoff spot with how competitive.
Oh, I know, right?
With how competitive it is in the Central here, I would be surprised if that, like, listen to this. The drop off from 1 to 2 is 4 points. The drop off from 2 to 3 is 1 point, and the drop off from 3 to 4 is 11 fucking points. That is hilarious. The team in 4th has a .463 points percentage, and it is the Calgary Flames.
But what's nuts, Ave, is if you look at the Western Conference as a whole, those 3 teams, the Knights, Canucks, and Kings, who are sitting top of the division, are the top 3 in the conference. Like, they're even ahead of Colorado at this point.
Yes, no, absolutely. And so, I'm actually something that I've been paying attention to as we kind of inadvertently went down this list. Listen to these goal differentials. Plus 30 Vegas, plus 34 Vancouver, plus 35 LA. Go look at the other tops in the divisions. The top in the Central, plus 12. Top of the Metro, plus 12. Boston Bruins, top in the Atlantic, plus 22. That's insane. Yeah. Like, those are the top 3 teams in goal differential by a wide margin, and they're all in the same division. And we're talking about how fucking deadly the Atlantic is. How fucking deadly is the Pacific?
Well, they're both extremely deadly in different senses. Because that's the thing, in the Pacific, it's because those 3 teams. Everyone else is kind of on even-ish footing, whereas the Atlantic, everyone's on even-ish footing, for the most part.
For the most part, yeah. And it's going to be interesting to see what the, like, if I'm not mistaken, Ottawa's got 5 games at hand, on the Montreal Canadiens. They have 7 games on Tampa Bay. They have 6 games on Buffalo. Those are all teams that are just ahead of them. I'm interested to see what they do with those games. Because,
I mean, if they keep DJ Smith in charge, they will be losing them.
well, I don't know. They're 11-11. I don't know if you can fire a coach after a 500 start, especially for a team like that in this division. Like, what do you want?
if you're the owners and management who have said that the rebuild is over, their words, not ours.
Well,
Like you
let's be
have
very clear.
to,
Pierre Dorian is not actually a member of that management team anymore, and that is who said that.
but like you know what I mean. Like that was the expectation given to fans was the rebuild is over. We're going to be good now. And unless this management group is going to kind of publicly say, oh, like actually no, like we have to backtrack on that. If they are just going to kind of carry on, then the expectation, again, it shouldn't be like they should not be the expectation. But when it's been out like publicly said, the rebuild's over. If you're not going to say, well, we might need to rebuild a little bit, retool a little bit, like, then that is your expectation: is the rebuild is over. You cannot be sitting bottom of your division.
See, here's the thing. Like, I understand where you're coming from, but I think that saying that is a very easy cop-out because of those games at hand. Like, they have a better points percentage than Buffalo. They have the same points percentage as Montreal. They're the only team out of those four that have a positive goal differential. So I think just labeling them a bottom feeder because they've played less games than everybody's lazy, to be honest.
No, I get that, but I also think that at the end of like when they catch up, because they should catch up ish, like within a game or two, I still think they will be bottom of the division.
Okay, but well, that would do. I'm just saying they're 6-4-0 in their last 10. They won their last game. I don't see a reason to think that they can't do exactly what they've done in those. Let's see what their schedule is moving forward. So let's see here. So they play the Hurricanes tomorrow, who we just talked about, and or on Tuesday, sorry, and we talked about the Canes sucking shit on the road, and they're in Ottawa, so there's a game they might win. Then they go to play the Blues, who, spoiler alert, stink. They could easily win that game. Stars will probably work them on Friday. Then they play Vegas. They'll probably get worked by Vegas. Actually, that Coyote Senators game will probably be a very, very competitive hockey game. That would be an interesting one to watch, and that is next Tuesday, the 19th. Then they play Colorado. They'll probably get shit on. And Pittsburgh struggled lately, and that's a Saturday game before Christmas Eve. So I don't know, man. And then they're back in Toronto. So to me, that's easily 500 hockey for them. I do agree with you that if they do fail through those games, though, it should be on DJ Smith, because for me, from what I've seen out of some of their players on individual levels this year, they have a good roster. They really do. Batherson's a decent hockey player, even if he's not a very decent human being. You got Timmy Stützle, who's been very, very good.
On fire, yeah.
Brady Tkachuk is a leader, a warrior, and he puts up points. Sanderson's a great defenseman. Chabot's out now for a little bit of time. They've been getting reasonable goaltending. I see no reason that they can't go 500 or better in that stretch, man.
I just think they. I don't see it. I don't see it.
Yeah, and it's because you hate the Ottawa Senators, as do I.
No. I can, because look, I'm smart enough to be able to put my bias aside a lot of the time. Do I sometimes, not do it for the content? A little bit. But like genuinely looking at that Ottawa Senators team, like yes, they have some good pieces, but there's no, it's like they have like the solid like B+ guys, and then it's all a bunch of fucking like D- guys. Like there's no balance in their lineup at all. Like if Timmy Stützle doesn't have a game, they lose. You know what I mean?
But I don't necessarily agree with that. Like, because of the other guys that I mentioned, like Batherson puts up points. Pinto got suspended. He's the one who got suspended for the gambling, right? Yeah. I always mix up him and Josh Norris for some reason. That's another guy. Josh Norris puts up points. Brady Tkachuk's a good hockey player, man. Like they have reasonable pieces. They have an offensive deep decor as well. Sanderson is one of the better, from what I've seen, he's one of the better skaters from the back end already in the league. He's just that good.
100%. I don't see it.
Yeah, and that's like saying if Caulfield doesn't have a game, which by the way he hasn't for a while. That's like saying then if he doesn't have a game, Montreal's going to lose every single game. Is that true?
Like at this point, yeah. But the thing is, like the Habs.
No, it
and
isn't, because they've won over the past week, and he sucked. I've looked
no,
at the stats.
he's put up a handful of points.
Okay, well, what
Like
is Cole Caulfield there to do? Score goals or not?
I mean, as long as he's putting up points, I don't care that much.
Okay, well,
like I know we've had this discussion off air, but like if you said a guy who's going to score 100 goals or get 100 assists, like I don't really give a fuck. 100 points is 100 points.
yeah. I mean, you win games with goals, and that's kind of what I understand he is there to do. Let me just take a look here at Cole Caulfield.
Yeah.
So, hasn't scored in his last 5 games, and he has 2 points. That's kind of stinky. Last goal was November 29th against the Columbus Blue Jackets. Before that, the 24th.
Scored in the shootout last night.
Pardon?
Did score in the shootout last night, which I mean it doesn't actually
count. Which doesn't matter at all. Like
it helps, but it helps you win the game. You know what I mean? Like it's not like he's straight up snake bitten.
My guy has 3 goals since November the 9th. It's been a month, dude.
Yeah. But like that's the thing. Like the Habs and our fans are able to be like, yeah, if like if him and Suzuki don't go, like probably gonna lose. Because we don't have a roster good enough to win when they don't score yet. Whereas the Sens rebuild is over, and they should be. But
see, you can't take a statement that a fired GM made 2 years ago and just like, come on, man.
But like, here's the thing: is like Senators fans. Like, how many times before this season started did you see Senators fans saying that the Senators were better than the Leafs?
Yes, and it's ridiculous. I understand that, but I still, just because of what they said, doesn't change the product on the ice, and I believe that the product on the ice is better than you believe the product on the ice is. That's what this comes down to.
But I think the product on the ice and the results that we are getting are going hand in hand. Like, they are not good on the ice. They are bottom of the division. Like, yes, they have those games in hand. I don't think those games in hand get them out of the basement. Like maybe by a point, but you know what I mean? It's not that they're going to sit there and take 8 points from those 4 games and suddenly be in 4th or 5th.
Well, if we're talking about the direct comparison with Montreal, first of all, it's 5. And I read to you the games that they play. Those are very easily winnable games. Like we talked about how bad Carolina's been. We talked about how bad St. Louis has been. That's easily 500 hockey. And honestly, I have more confidence in the Ottawa Senators being able to play 500 hockey than I do in the Montreal Canadiens. That's another factor here. The Montreal Canadiens are always also going to play games, and I believe they will most likely lose those games because I believe they are still years away from being a good hockey team. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
that would pull Ottawa out of the basement. Therefore, I believe Ottawa will be out of the basement after they make up those games. Anyway, we don't need to spend any more time on the Ottawa Senators. This is a Leafs and Habs show. And that is one of the Leafs' biggest rivals. So let's stop.
All right. Any other news, Toronto or around the league?
Nothing really that I can think of there. It was kind of a quiet week. Honestly, I don't know about you. I spent a lot of my week tracking planes from Anaheim to Toronto.
And not for any good reason contributing to this podcast, but no, we almost got Ohtani. We almost got him.
Yeah, no, we didn't. All I have to say is fuck you, Shohei Ohtani. Like truly, fuck you, Shohei Ohtani.
Bro made $700 million. He doesn't give a fuck what you have to say.
That is one of the most absurd things that anybody has ever said to me. Is he made $700 million? 700 million?
Nuts.
That is.
It's like okay, so I know
mind.
I know like money in hockey sometimes doesn't feel as like nuts, but like money in soccer is like insane. Even this is like my brain struggles to comprehend it.
Yes.
Like 700 mil.
Like how? How can 70? I think I saw something that if he plays 162 games every year for the 10-year contract, which he won't. Let's be very clear. He's an injury-prone guy. He's not going to play every game out of 162 every year for 10 years. That's impossible. I know this is a hockey podcast. We'll talk about this quickly, and that's it. He makes $430,000 a game.
If he does that. That like reminds me, so the deal that Mbappe turned down to go to Saudi Arabia this summer, where like they had it broken down where he would have made like tens of thousands of euros per second being in Saudi Arabia. It was stupid. I wish I remember the actual numbers off the top of my head.
I believe the numbers for Shohei were, I think per second he makes $50 a second.
Like, it's just like stupid. Like
So.
I just can't imagine like going taking a dump and be like, I just made like $200. Just made like $400.
Yeah.
What?
Just for an 8-second pee.
Yeah. Like just took a quick leak.
Made $800. Oh, life's not fair, Gitano.
No, it's not. It's not.
All right. Well, I think that's all we have for this episode. Or did we still have to do our schedules? I guess I kind of only went halfway through it earlier in the episode.
Oh, just a quick one in Montreal. So David Savard's been back on the ice. No set timetable for him to return, but like he's at least back skating. And Arber Xhekaj on a conditioning stint in Laval. So he's played, I think, 2 games now. Basically just because he's waiver eligible. So the Habs are like, fuck it, we might as well like use it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so hopefully some healthy bodies back in the lineup soon. But what do the Leafs have coming up this week?
So tomorrow we are in Long Island playing the Islanders. The next night we are in MSG playing the Rangers, followed by a Thursday home game versus the Columbus Blue Jackets, who stink. And Saturday night, Hockey Night in Canada, in Toronto versus the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Love that.
Yeah, we might have to get
a little bit of Crosby on primetime there, eh?
Yeah, we might have to get a little get-together scheduled for Saturday night there with old Wilhelm.
Ooh.
Old Pens Leafs game.
That's going to get heated. I like that.
Yeah.
The Habs have a little bit of a home stretch coming up here. So we've got the Predators in town tonight, actually, for a Sunday night game. We've got the Penguins on Wednesday, and then the Islanders for Hockey Night in Canada on Saturday.
Very nice. Sounds like a full week of hockey up here, which is very, very nice to see. Finally, Jesus, it's been forever. The Sweden trip put a wrench in things for the Leafs. And it's just been a weird schedule. So happy to have lots of hockey to watch this week. Thank you for listening to this episode 112, powered by 91N. I am once again your host, Avery Roush. This is Gitano Gallo, and we are signing off. Thank you for listening.